So in this lecture, we're going to be talking about structure enhancing. First thing is I want to note what the difference is between core enhancing, which is what we talked about previously, and structure enhancing. Now in core enhancing, the basic thing that we talked about is adding colors, right? How colors can help you with your perception and help also the right side of your hemisphere. I'm going to repeat some information in the structure enhancing that are going to be repeated from the core enhancing because I want you, repetition is the only thing that's going to make it really stick to your mind and make you stick with it properly. So core enhancing, when we talked about it, is basically adding colors to the ideas, the branches, and the sub-branches that we have in order for you to be able to associate them in your brain with a certain color and be able to perceive them more easily and store them more easily, right? And I briefly talked about how adding images and information can actually help, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you are saying, okay, but what kind of images? Like, what do you mean images? Do I add just a picture of my niece on the mind map? Is that how it works? What kind of information should I add? This is what we're going to talk about right here in structure enhancing. So images, for instance, if you are writing about, let's say, rainforest animals, I'm just going to go throw random animals. I'm not sure what animals live in rainforests, but I'm just going to give some examples. And you want to talk about elephants, monkeys, and parrots. Instead of putting the main idea as animals in rainforests and putting arrows to and writing elephants, writing parrots, and writing monkeys, what you do is you put arrows and you put images of an elephant, of a monkey, and of a parrot. Now, that might seem, the first thought that's going to come to your mind is, what's the difference between just writing elephant and putting a picture of an elephant? Well, we're going to talk about it when it comes to the memory and recall improvements, but the reason why kids, the first thing they learn at school is how to visually perceive everything from letters and colors, everything, is because your visual sense is very, very strong. So when you put the picture of an elephant instead of writing elephant, your mind will be able to associate this image with a lot more information than just the word. And this is proven science. When you do this, you are using the right hemisphere of your brain, as we talked about before, and we're going to talk about it more later. It increases your creativity using the right side of your brain by associating information to images, not just colors. So images and information, we'll talk about more right now about information, also about structure. So just to recap, images, add images instead of writing words. When you can add images, always do that because it's going to help you way more in terms of mind mapping. There are a lot of softwares and tools that you can use to add images to your mind maps, such as NovaMind that you guys can check out. And of course, I'm going to be covering how to use Canva and how to use Simple Mind Plus in this course. In Canva, you'll be able to know how to use pictures and images very easily and effectively with your mind map when we get to it. But another example would be to just add images when it comes to each and every branch and main idea. So the main idea can be, let's say, fitness. Maybe you want to add a picture. You want to put a dumbbell and write fitness on top of it instead of just writing fitness. Giving it an image structure will make it easier for you not to just develop it right now when you're writing the mind map, but for you to be able to recall the mind map and improve it better in the long run when you're working on it. And as I said, a lot of you might say, I don't understand how this can be helpful. I can just write fitness. It can be helpful because images trigger the right side of your hemisphere, which associates images with ideas, not just words with ideas, but images, shapes, and colors that you've seen throughout your lives. When you put a picture of a dumbbell, your mind is going to associate and think about all the things related to a dumbbell, and you're going to be able to process and get and brainstorm more information way more effectively. And as I said, this is all proven by science, and that's exactly why most people recommend using images in mind maps. And of course, it's not just images. We talked about using colors before, how colors can also help if you don't want to use images. Maybe you're using images for the main idea and the branches, and you wanna use colors for the sub branches to be able to differentiate between them. But we already talked about this in a previous lecture. What we want to focus on right now, for example, is information, adding text or keywords. If while doing your mind mapping, you're doing some research online and you stumble upon a very good topic, and you add this topic, this idea, you add it as a title in a sub branch, but then you think that, you know what, like this is something that I might forget about. You might as well just write a keyword under it, or write a small text or description or number or letter that you'll be able to use for you to be able to remember what it's about, or for you to just be able to go back and research what it is, to be able to know what you actually wanted to use it for. Using also numbers and letters to be able to navigate through your mind map properly. If you have a mind map where you want to work on one thing after the other, maybe when you have the main idea, and then you have the branches, and then in each branch there are the sub branches, but you need to work on the branches one by one. You might want to number or put letters on the branches. 1 for the first branch that you want to start with, 2 for the second, 3 for the third. Maybe they're complementary. Maybe you can't go to number 2 if you don't finish number 1. That's where numbers would be helpful. That's where letters would be helpful. Going A, B, C, D, E, F instead of going A, F, E, D, you know? Putting numbers, adding numbers and letters for you to be able to navigate the structure and enhance the structure of your mind map and navigate through it easily can help tremendously. It would make your life easier. So if you're using images, and then you are using colors for the sub branches, and then you are using numbers to differentiate between all of the different ideas that you have to go through one by one, then you have a mind map that is very well structured in a flawless way that you can follow through very easily, and you're using every single aspect of it in terms of visual processing for it to help you even more in brainstorming and recalling information and in building the mind map itself. So images, of course, are lastly a powerful tool to consume information much more than words and sentences. That's why a kid is taught to understand images and links them to words. And you have this picture of the rainbow right here. Probably when you saw it, you saw this image. Some of you remembered this image from the lecture that was before in the adding colors. So basically the core enhancing, and it kind of linked up to adding colors to your mind map. Some of you maybe didn't because, well, maybe some of you didn't look at the picture, or some of you ignored it or whatever. But if you did look at the picture and you were aware of it, when you were reading and you were listening about me talking about core enhancing and adding colors to it, as soon as you see this rainbow, you are going to remember that you need to add colors to your mind map to make it a bit more effective. And finally, not just images, something that I want to add as well in structure enhancing is structures themselves. So if one branch is much more important than all the other branches, instead of just putting one arrow from the main idea to this branch, maybe you want to put 3 arrows to indicate that this is really important, and maybe put 2 arrows to indicate less important and 1 arrow to indicate least important. This is structuring. If you have 2 branches that are linked together, but they are also separated, you might want to put 2 arrows from the main idea, 2 arrows for each and every one of them, but then put an arrow between both of them, right? In order for you to know and associate in your brain that these 2 ideas are linked and at the same time they are separated. So using images and using colors and using information, keywords and structures, arrows, letters, numbers, these will all help you in the mind mapping structure. It will enhance the structure and it'll make it way easier for you to write and generate the mind map, and for you to be able to follow through eventually with the mind map and execute it properly.